Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Mr. Chandler, and I'm here with another screencast for you. This is an extra credit opportunity in case you wanted to get 5 points added on to your lowest test grade. All you have to do is just follow all of the steps I'm doing right here, including watching this screencast, going in and answering the questions for the Ozymandias assignment that you have seen right here listed in Classroom, as well as doing any annotations I do to the poem. That way you can achieve full extra credit for this. So what you need to do is, when you get the chance, you will see this assignment called Extra Credit Ozymandias Poem Breakdown. You want to click on that. And the reason I chose this poem is because it is actually one of my favorites. I have a somewhat personal connection to it, plus it's been referenced quite a bit in some TV shows like Breaking Bad and How I Met Your Mother, so I figured this is a good opportunity to kind of see that crossover between genres. Well, let's go ahead and read this real quick. From Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell to that sculptor well those passion dread which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things." Wait for the bell. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty in despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." So right off bat, we don't know anything about Ozymandias. We don't know who this character is. We don't know if he's the protagonist in this, if he's an antagonist, supporting character. We don't know that much about him. So first detail, as far as looking at the title, we really can't get that much information. But going line for line, I met a traveler from an antique land. So what we can do here is comment. So antique, think of like antique shops, like mom and pop stores, where you may find some vases or some old furniture or whatnot. So antique in this case would be old. Comment there. Who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert, near them on the sand." So desert, you comment there. That's going to be our setting. Half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that sculptor well those passion dread. Okay, so a few things to break apart from here. A shattered visage. So a visage in this instance would be more so like a statue, like a giant monument of sorts. Not quite like the Washington Monument, where it's just more like a statue. This one is more so like the Lincoln Memorial or the Jefferson Memorial or anything of that, where you can actually see some facial features and some characteristics. So let's comment here. Statue like Lincoln Memorial. And wrinkled lips. So we have a few imagery details, so let's go ahead and comment here. This is going to be a piece of figurative language, so figurative language, imagery. And sneer of cold command. So just offhand, can a statue sneer at somebody? Can it physically sneer? Of course not, because it's not living. So this would be another example of figurative language. This would be an example of personification. So sneer of cold command. Figurative language. That would be personification. If I can spell it right. Personification. Okay. Tell that his sculptor well those passion dread which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. So once again, you have another example of personification here. Go ahead and we're going to go ahead and underline this too, because I feel like it's pretty important. So not only are we going to be adding comments, just like you're doing for annotations, like if you actually physically write this on the paper, let's go ahead and underline this too. Then comment. tell the sculptor. So it physically can't tell something. So again, figurative shorthand this language. So fig lang from here on out. Personification. Well, those passion dread which has survived, stamped on these lifeless things, a hand that mocked them and a heart that fed. So once again, and this is Percy Shelley is relying so much on personification that she really wants you to repeat. The poet in this case really wants you to feel like this thing's alive, that it has a lot of depth behind it. It's more than just a statue. It's got some life. It's got some spontaneity behind it. So, a hand that mocked them. Personification. The heart that fed. So, same thing here. And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias. So let's go ahead and underline this because we've seen this reference before. We know this is talking about the title. So anytime you have something repeated, it's best to go ahead and make mention of that. Now, King of Kings. You may have heard this in Christian mythology or like Christianity, where Jesus is known as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So in this instance, King of Kings, it's like not just the king, it is the highest peak you can be. So it's making a reference to another piece of work or another piece of religion or mythology or whatnot. Let's go ahead and comment there, figurative language. This is an allusion. Anytime you have a reference of this sort, it is known as an allusion. Look on my works, ye mighty in despair. Nothing beside remains, around the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare. Okay, so boundless and bare. Even though we have the and here, I really want to make mention of the fact that you have this repetition of B in this case. So anytime it's a repetition of the beginning letters, that is an allusion. So figurative language. Let's scroll down just a little bit. Alliteration, not bad. Alliteration in this case. Get these mixed up quite a bit. There we go. Same thing here. The lone and level sand stretch far away. So let's go ahead and get all this together. Just knock it out all at once. Figurative language. Alliteration. So before we tack onto these questions, let's really try to think about what this poem is about. What may help you is if we go ahead and just watch this quick video here. And I gotta give credit to username Hammers for this.
I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless lakes of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions red which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias.
There's a custodian in the building. Can you come to the office?
So we're just going to restart this one section over again just a little bit because of the intercom. But let's go ahead and play back this one specific part. It's talking about what words are mentioned on the pedestal.
My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
So that is actually Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. This was from a commercial from Breaking Bad. The audio is not exactly the video. But this kind of gives you a hint as to what the poem is about. So as we have mentioned here, a traveler from an antique land who is telling the speaker here. So the speaker is not the traveler. Let's make that distinction real quick. The speaker, the poet in this case, the first person view of this is not the traveler until we get here for this bit of dialogue. So from line 2 onto the rest, it's all dialogue. So let's go ahead and make a comment here. Transition from speaker to traveler. Okay, now let's work on these questions together. So based on the information in the poem, who was Ozymandias? Okay, so we know it's not the traveler because we've established that the traveler is the one telling the story, so we can go ahead and cross that off. Let's go ahead and mark us off with, actually no, we'll just go ahead and bold our answer just for the sake of time here. So we know that it's not going to be the traveler. We know it's not the sculptor because the sculptor, as referenced up here, tell that wrinkle lip is near cold command, tell that the sculptor well those passion dread. So you know it's not the sculptor in this case. We don't know anything about a writer. We don't have anything to kind of point to this as a writer because it's mainly talking about physical characteristics of the statue. So it has to be king here. So go ahead and highlight this. Let's make this a nice shade of yellow. Okay. Number 2. Which words and phrases from the poem best contribute to a sense of setting? So boundless, bare, and lone and level sands, shadow of decay and wreck, half sunk, lifeless things, or legs of stone. So offhand, legs of stone, cold command, and despair, that's more characteristics of the statue, so you can knock that off. Shadow, decay, and wreck, again, talking about the statue. Half sunk, lifeless things, and colossal. Again, more so talking about the statue, so best contributes to a sense of setting. So boundless, bare, and lone level sands. So you're talking about the desert in this case. So this is your only answer choice that makes sense. So A. The person who created the sculpture did not think highly of Ozymandias. What lines from the poem supported this conclusion? The rounded decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, lone level sands stretched far away. It's possible. It's possible. We'll get back to that one. 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert, near them on the sand half sunk, shrouded visage lies. This is mainly just talking about the statue, the imagery of the statue, the setting, so we can knock off B. The sculpture, well, those passion dread which yet survive, stand from these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them. Possibly. And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. That would seem to be contrary to this. It's just telling you, okay, this is on the statue, so you can knock off D. So that leaves either A or C. This is a good answer, but C is your better answer because the hand that mocked them stand on these lifeless things. The sculpture is just contemptuous of Ozymandias, so go ahead and highlight this. What was the poem mostly about? Well, kind of gave it away for you with the video that we saw. So, you know it's not about the king, you can knock off A. You know it's not about the king being dead because it's talking about a statue, so you can knock off D. Traveler's journeys through antique land and faraway deserts. Possibly. So again, this is a good answer, but a better answer. You're always going to see this on the EOGs. Better answer is C. So go ahead and highlight that. Read the lines from the poem. We're just going to shorthand this just because we're cut for time. In these lines, what does the word survive mostly mean? So you see survive here. Tell the sculptor, well, those passions dread which have survived. You know it's not coexist. You know it's not live. Outlast is your better answer choice, so go ahead and highlight that. And there you go. You have completed what is actually a 9th grade level passage here. All you have to do is just submit this in the classroom. Make sure you get every single one of these put into there, and you'll get 5 points added on to your next assignment. And once again, guys, if you have any questions, just be sure to email me or to talk to me in class. But again, thank you for watching this video.